Before we went on air, the Supreme Court announced they will let the travel ban on 6 Middle Eastern countries go into effect. It will allow travelers with green cards and visas to enter the U.S., but will forbid all refugees unless they can prove that they have some connection here.
Well, you know, that's the point that I would like to talk about, because it says that the court limited the order's impact on foreigners with clear ties to individuals in the United States.
A bona fide relationship with the United States.
Yeah. But the Tsarnaev brothers, they were brothers in Boston, so they each had a connection to someone in the U.S. And the Manchester bomber also his brother was also a terrorist. So I don't know that that's going to work either.
What changed, though? This was held up, and then all the...
because the Supreme Court, I mean, this is no surprise for me, because I think what you're going to find is that, my opinion is that the Supreme Court is going to uphold the president's authority to, in the interest of national security, to say anyone from anywhere, hold on, you can't come in. And the reason is, I've been saying for a long time, is that the vetting process in these 6 countries is problematic. You have that on record from the former administration, and he at any point can say, if I want to protect the national security of this nation, I, as the president of the United States, the commander-in-chief, can say, you cannot come in until this is fixed. That's what I think is going to be
a two-year vetting process in place already.
But those records,
the vetting process in the world,
that's not true.
That is true.
But that being said,
specifically from countries like Syria, where they don't have paper records or anything at all.
There aren't paper, and also we don't have the most camaraderie with those administrations.
Process in the world here in the United States. That is the truth. But that being, it's the truth.
That's not true.
Yes, it is. But that being said, I would not presume to say or know what the Supreme Court is going to do, but this certainly sounds like a partial victory for the administration, and I also think, though, that it is a very narrow victory, because what is going to happen is, in 72 hours, we're going to see a lot of litigation over what a bona fide connection to a United States citizen means.
That's going to be hard to...
So I think we all just need to take a breath. The country needs to take a breath and let the lawyers handle it.
But I wonder if Trump will consider it a victory, because this was the one he called watered down and politically correct. He said this is not a good enough one. So I wonder if he'll actually even
It's a very narrow victory.
It looks like Gorsuch, his dividend on Gorsuch is kicking in already.
There was no dissent, remember. On this instance, there's not one person dissented.
What's happening here is they're saying we're going to come back and visit this in its entirety, but right now, we're going to let you do this. We're going to let you do this. And the sad thing for me about all of this is, you know, this is what they did to the Irish. This is what they did to the Italians. This is what they did to the Spanish. This is what they did to the Chinese, all out of fear. So I just hope that when we go outside today, Lady Liberty has not walked off with this, because refugees, you know, the nature of the refugee is they are fleeing. They are fleeing a country which is repressing them. And so I just, you know, all I can say is we'll keep an eye on this, because this is not the end.
No.
It's slightly annoying, but it's not the end. Now, the White House really changed their view. I know. I know. I'm glad it wasn't a thunderbolt. You know, he's really changed his big mind on the Russian election hacking over the weekend. It went from questioning whether it even happened to dusting off a classic conservative catchphrase, thanks Obama. Take a look.
Well, I just heard today for the first time that Obama knew about Russia a long time before the election, and he did nothing about it. But nobody wants to talk about that. That the CIA gave him information on Russia a long time before they even, before the election. And I hardly see it. It's an amazing thing to me, In other words, the question is, if he had the information, why didn't he do something about it? He should have done something about it.
I thought he said that that there was no Russian hacking last week. He needs to pick a lie and stick with it.
Yeah. But it's hard because he may not remember everything.
What he said last week. nice guy.
point something out to you? I'll give you a little bit of... So the October 7th timeline, which is the important one, at 3:30 p.m., Obama administration first public statement on Russian meddling. 4 p.m., same day, Washington Post publishes a story about the big guys' Access Hollywood tapes. 4:30, WikiLeaks published its first batch of John Podesta emails. So you want to know why you didn't hear about it? That's why there was a big lot of poop going on that day. That's why you didn't hear. And why is he? What should he have done? Given, because he's going to get blamed either way.
Who, Obama?
If he had told everybody, they would say you're meddling. If he didn't tell everybody, but he did tell everybody, and as it turns out, nobody was listening.
Well, he didn't really go out as forcefully as he might have and said the Russians are hacking.
He did.
No,
I'm telling you, the warnings prompted Russia to then abandon the plans of further aggression like sabotage of the U.S. voting. He was out there. He did say it. You know, as with so many things happen.
But this happened, the CIA, what we're talking about actually happened in late August, where the CIA was notified. And the reason that with these interviews...
you're saying when the CIA was notified. When was Obama notified?
The CIA
in October, or just before? Go ahead.
My argument is that a lot of the statements that they made here, the reasons they didn't come forward initially with a strong statement or cyber attacks on Russian infrastructure or serious sanctions, was that they thought Hillary Clinton was going to win the election anyway, and because they felt that they would look like they were meddling. And my statement is to President Obama, your job is not to worry about how things look for you. This, at this point, was a national security threat. This was a national security threat to our electoral process.
Listen,
he's the President of the United States. It was his job to do something about it.
It's very clear that no matter what Obama did or didn't do, wouldn't have helped. And the bottom line is this. Well, you can, but you know, this argument, this conversation is BS. Because the real conversation is, you, new guy who is sitting in Washington, they're probing you and all the stuff you did with Russia. And you have a much longer list. And you know what? The end of somebody's tenure, as Mr. Bush did with Obama, so did Obama do with him. Say, okay, it's your problem now. But he did what he was supposed to do.
But I think he did the right thing, actually, because had he acted and said Russia is doing things in our election, we would have done the same thing that we did with Comey, right? We were saying, how could he have gone forward and said something? Now the president has affected the outcome of the election.
And
so
Comey
I think
first came out in July, so on the heels of that, I feel like it would have felt like, I don't know, getting involved.
Wouldn't the best thing to do was to say that the Russians are hacking into our election, period? But you know, all the evidence is saying that the hacking was done to help Donald Trump and not to help Hillary.
That's why he didn't do anything, because if he had said, hey, there's meddling, it would have looked like he was trying to hold on to the thing. Hold on. We're going to come back. We'll be right back with more Hot Topics.